Hey everyone, it's Chelsea here. How's it going? It's Thursday and I am about to bring my dear friend and colleague Leah Kozatsky on to join us for our weekly edition of Girl Talk, Give Yourself Permission. And today we're talking about raising your vibration. I'm just going to see if Leah is available to join me. I don't know if she's here yet. Just give me a moment, bear with me. Oh, there she is. Hi Leah, I see you. I'm gonna try and invite you on. There we go. Did you get an invitation from me, Leah? I said I just invited you to watch, but you're already watching. So what's going on here? Let's try that again. This is always so awkward at the beginning here. Okay, it says I've already sent an invite to you. And Leah, are you able to invite yourself on? Okay. All right, so I think Leah's just gonna try switch over to her phone and see if she can get on this way. And while we wait, we'll just hang out. I'm really excited about this topic today. It's one that I think Leah and I both honestly could probably talk for hours about. So we'll keep it short, but perhaps we'll do a longer class on this down the road. I think that that's something that we should do. But yeah, we're going to be chatting about it today, just kind of free form. Oh, I think I might have gotten an, yeah, okay. Leah's, she'll be here hopefully in a moment. We'll be able to start. Hello to whoever's watching. Thank you for being here. Just bear with us as we get ourselves situated. For some reason, it's taking a bit of a moment. It says that Leah declined the invitation. Leah, did you press the wrong button? It keeps telling me that you're declining the invitation. Are you doing that for real?
Okay,
There you
it
are.
worked.
What's going on? That was really weird.
Hi.
Hi, Samantha. Hi. So, okay, we're here. We made it. That was a little bit of a,
Yes.
yeah, we did it.
All right.
How are you
Thank
doing?
you so much for your patience, Chelsea, on these
No
Facebook
problem.
Lives.
No problem. It always works out in the end, and this time at least we're not doing multiple videos. We're here and we're ready to go.
Yes,
So welcome
exactly.
to everyone who is watching. Thank you for being here. I see Samantha is here. I'm not sure who else, but today we are going to be talking about raising your vibration and all of the reasons. Well, I think we'll start with explaining for anyone that is hearing that and they're not quite sure what it means. We'll kind of start there. We'll talk about what that means to both of us, and then we're just going to kind of chat about it. And anyone that's watching, that's here with us, or if you're watching it later, if you have any questions or comments or anything that you wanted to share with us, we would love to have your input as well.
Yeah, I'm going to
So,
be sharing this on my page as well, so I'll do that
oh,
now.
perfect. Let
Yeah,
me know when you're ready.
perfect. Okay.
Leah, you're looking especially beautiful today.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. So are you, as always.
Thank you. Hi, Jolie. How are you?
All right, let me just share this.
Let me know
Gotta
when you're
love
ready.
the world of Facebook Live. All right, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
share
always an
this.
adventure.
Yes. Okay. So as we're talking girl talk, my daughter is home from school today. She's here on Ped Day. Oh, and she's hiding behind
Is
me.
she coming
So I
in?
think she wants to
It's
be
so
part
funny
of
you
girl
said
talk.
that. I was just gonna say, like when you said that about Facebook Live, it just reminded me of that man who was doing his broadcast and all of a sudden his kids popped in. Did
Yes.
you see that video? It was a couple years ago, so that's so cute that your daughter's right there. Is she coming? Is she gonna come on
She's
and say
not.
hi?
She's hiding. She's hiding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, hello.
So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this topic. I think it's like super important, especially, with all the things that are happening in the world, and it's just a good thing to talk about. And I remember when I
Mhm.
first started this work, I was like Vibration. What does that mean? What is vibration? But as I studied it more and more and got into, the law of attraction and all of these great things that we do and that we teach, I became a lot more aware of what was going on. So absolutely,
Hmm.
it's something that's super, super important to talk about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and just to, like just to kind of get down to like the basics of like what is vibration and what does it really mean. Now, neither of us are physicists, but this is something that is actually rooted in science. That if you get down to the most basic building block of what makes us who we are, what makes life what it is, it's something that was discovered over the last, I don't know how long, that we really are made out of mostly light vibrations, not necessarily solid matter. And so I think that it just makes perfect sense how we're affected by the vibrations in the world and how everything. Oh, hello. Oh, it's so cute. Look at your beautiful face. Thanks for joining us. What's that?
She's wondering why you're talking and the computer is not talking because I have you on two screens right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that.
it's okay. It's because I have
Okay.
the headphones on. So
Okay.
yes, go on with that.
Yeah, so just kind of explaining that, like this is something that's not, I mean, we even said it in our title. It might sound like this is a fluffy topic, that this is a woo-woo topic, but this is something that affects so many of, well, affects all of us. And some of us have maybe a greater awareness of it or a greater awareness of how we can shift it if we need to. And I think that that's what I really want to get into talking about. Oh my goodness, you're so cute.
We
But you're
talk
here,
about
my
vibration.
darling, you're here raising our vibration with your beautiful smile and your beautiful face. So, like exactly, it's just, I think it's a perfect kind of way to explain it. So, everyone feels this, when you walk into a room, and it's even in our language, we talk about good vibes
Yeah,
or bad vibes. Everyone talks about that. We might not used to talk about it, kind of decades ago, but it is something that, is in all of our consciousness. And we are aware of it when we walk into a room and maybe there's just been a heated argument, or we
yeah,
walk into a room and there's some sort of tension. Maybe we just stumbled upon like a an affair that's brewing at our workplace or
yeah,
something like that. We can feel it, right? We can feel the vibration, we can feel the energy of what each person is giving off. And this has an impact on us, it has an impact on people around us, and it has an impact on the planet. Can you imagine a planet full of human beings? If you look at what's going on in the world today, there's a lot of bad vibes, but there's also a lot of good vibes going on in the world. And I think it's important to really focus on the good. I mean, anytime I see anything that goes um, wrong in the world, it's like us as a human race, we have more work to do. And I think ultimately this is our job, is to each of us individually focus on our own inner work, our own inner vibration. And as soon as everyone on the planet gets that,
hmm,
then I think that the world will start to become a better place. And I'm not saying that everyone just has to automatically be happy. I think that there's an important amount of focus when we talk about vibration in suppressed emotions. So if you have anger within you or sadness and you're not expressing it or you're not feeling it, it actually can be a block to releasing it and raising your vibration. So it's not necessarily just about being happy and, kind of not being present to or aware of what's going on in the world.
yeah,
So there's sort of there's a strategy, I really feel that it takes to work with this, with what we're talking about, and to actually get better at noticing within ourselves.
hmm,
And that's what I think is going to be really fun to share. But I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this, Leah. So I'll let you take it away and
yeah.
chat with us about your take on how to raise your vibration.
Yeah, and I love that, you talked about how it's, for the greater good, for for like the human race, and for humanity. I think that, or I truly believe that we're all responsible for our own personal vibration. So that means, like
Mhm.
it doesn't mean going around and being super optimistic and happy all day long. That's not what it means, but just being responsible for the way that you feel and not blaming it on others, and raising it in through different ways, right? Which we will talk about during this girl talk. And I remember wondering, like, how am I fully responsible for my vibration when so and so did this and so did that, and this just happened in the world and that just happened. Um, you know, I couldn't like wrap my head around that concept. And the more I dove into it, into the work, like the more I understood, okay, I'm responsible for the feelings that I feel. It's all like an inner game. And
Mhm.
if something is not working in my life or something is off, well, how can I change it? You know how that saying is that, you can't change other people, you can only change yourself. And obviously your vibration is part of that. And I like to refer to like vibrational hygiene. You know how we're all like obsessed with like taking showers and obviously like getting ready and just being ready for the day and stuff like that. But do you stop for a second to look after your vibrational hygiene, right? So does that mean like, do you
Mhm.
meditate? Do you do yoga? Do you exercise? However it is that you raise your vibration on a physical level or spiritual, emotional level, mental even. What are you thinking all day long? What do you even know what your thoughts are, what your subconscious thoughts are? Um, are you sabotaging yourself all day long, or are you lifting yourself up? So these are the things that we are responsible for. And when I'm talking to my clients and I say, you're responsible for your vibration, what you're flowing out into the world, because it's a reflection of what is coming back to you. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm actually responsible for this. So, absolutely.
Mhm.
An example I want to give you, it happens every single day, really, where uh, if I wake up and I'm having a bad day or like a bad morning, then it just like plays out into the rest of my day. But if I take the time to, do like have a gratitude list and meditate and exercise and eat well, eat foods that lift my vibration. So I know that when I when I eat like junk food and stuff, I just like that just like sets everything off, and also my body as well. So, um, this happens on a daily basis. But when I remember what was it that time that became really conscious of how my vibration affects my reality, was when I first got into coaching and when I wanted
Mhm.
to go on a retreat. And I did everything to like raise my vibration to make it to that retreat. I ended up getting a scholarship, a full scholarship to go to a retreat in Florida. Um, and like I actually had called it in. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to raise my vibration. I'm going to think good thoughts. I'm going to feel the sand between my toes. I'm going to feel the sun on my skin. It was really like, and I felt this like happiness, being at the retreat. And lo and behold, 2 days later, the lead coach called me and she's like, we just got honored a scholarship from an anonymous donor. Would you like to come? Because we know that you want to come, but you can't
Wow.
make it. And I was like, oh my God, it's working. It's working.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, the same thing, it happens with my clients all the time. They're like, how come so and so system isn't working? And then we look at their vibrational hygiene, like what is going on in their life? What are they truly believing? And then it just happens that when they shift that, as soon as they shift that, things happen differently.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
so true. And I think it's something to think about. Like everything has vibration. Our thoughts, just like you're saying. This is one of the, I guess, side benefits of raising your vibration is you become more magnetized to having the things that you want in your life. So that's the law of attraction, and that's basically, the simplest way of defining it is just looking at the world in this way. So our thoughts have
Hmm.
vibration. The food that we eat has vibration,
Yeah.
the the environment in our home. I think one of the things that I really think about a lot is, because sometimes I can let my home just, like I'm a busy mom. Sometimes I'm not able to clean up right away, right? So stuff gets left around.
Yeah.
And I know that feeling, it's like just clutter, that just having that clutter visually, but I
Mm.
think not even just visually, because you could put it in a closet, throw it all in a
Close the
junk drawer and
door.
it's there, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's just important to really um, widen our awareness, because I think when we get really busy, we can forget and we can just kind of, have kind of like our understanding of our immediate world is really all that we're thinking about, and just the physical world, what we see in front of us, and we can really forget
Mhm.
that this is something that impacts us so powerfully, and that we actually have a great deal of control over. I mean, things happen, so you can be feeling amazing and then something can happen,
Yeah.
but it's how you react to that,
Yeah.
and what you make it mean. It's the meaning that you attach to it, the beliefs that you have about yourself and about why that happened. And think about even some of the phrases or the sentences that you say. I did this myself today. So one of the things I wanted to share, I'm still like, I still can't believe it happened, but I had a bit of a rough last 24 hours, a lot of things happening. And just again, like, I feel like, if there was, we talked about it before we got on this call. It's a new moon. There's just a lot of
Yeah.
intensity going on in the world. And I was feeling that. I didn't sleep well. And my dear dad, a week ago, we went out for lunch and he had gotten himself a new Apple Watch and he wanted to give me his old one, which was lovely, So I even got myself like a new wristband and everything, just love it. I woke up today, I went to put it on, and I dropped it on the floor and it shattered.
What?
Mm-hmm.
You just got
Yeah,
that. Oh
I
no.
know. And so think about all of the things,
Oh,
like, I'm such a klutz. Like all of the thoughts, all of the judgments, all
yeah.
of the, like, because that was a pretty, I mean, it wasn't brand new, but it was new to me, and I was really enjoying using it. But it was like I had to really. I think there's a whole element too, like when we do something that happens like this, where like really I was tired. I probably shouldn't have been putting it on over top of my tile floor, right? Like it fell on the bathroom floor. But it's just like one of those things where um, when something happens, it happened, and I am not going to let it ruin my day. I'm not going to dwell on it. And I really had to notice, and I think it's perfect that we were having this call today, because I really had to catch some of the things I was saying to myself.
Yeah.
Some of the
Yeah.
things that I was like, we can be so unkind to ourselves sometimes, like we think things that we wouldn't say to, people in our lives, right?
Absolutely.
And so I really had to notice it. And I think that there's a huge amount of healing when you start to get better at catching that. If something happens, um, we need to sidestep it and just move forward, right? So, I think there's just an example of that happened quite potently for me.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so sorry to hear about your watch though. You were really proud of it and
Yeah, it was kind
but
of
I
sad. I never have to
yeah.
go tell my dad.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
know.
things
I've
like
already been
that.
looking on Kijiji.
What?
Oh, I said I've already been looking on Kijiji. I might just replace it.
Kind of replace it, be
Anyways,
like, that never happened.
yeah, totally.
But one of the things, like when I think of stories like that, because it happens to all of us, right? Maybe not breaking
Mm-hmm.
an iWatch, but or whatever, if it's breaking a phone
Oh
or
yeah,
anything, right? Like
yeah,
it's
getting a
just
scratch on your car. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, all of that stuff, right? Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times that'll happen, and then I'll say like, okay, what? Well, obviously I'm upset in the moment, and then thinking like just like brewing in that feeling of feeling upset about something that happened that was actually not in my control. I mean, the iPhone, the iWatch falling on the floor, like that's gravity, right? And it just so happened it
Mm-hmm.
happens to be on the ceramic tile, and so it fell, right, and it shattered. But um, it could have been you could have put it on your table and it could have fallen too, right? In
Mm-hmm.
your
Oh
dining
yeah.
room and it would have been
Accidents
fine,
happen all the time.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I like to, yeah, of course, like I don't want to dwell on these things, and things happen. Like they say, shit happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to dwell on that stuff and not understand the lesson. And this is what I've been doing a lot in this past year is like, show me the lesson. I need to see what I need to see, what
Absolutely.
I cannot see right now. Show me the lesson.
Yeah.
And it usually just like comes right away. And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's because of this, this, and that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That actually made me think of something that happened last week that I had wanted to share about, and I never did, but I think it's important to share about it now because it's like when we're not fully conscious, when we're tired, we're busy, we're worried about really often mundane things that aren't going to matter next year, like a deadline or somebody that's doing something that's upsetting us, whatever it is. We can start to get really distracted, and we can be almost like we're sleepwalking, like we're unconscious to what's
Yeah.
going on. So a couple of days ago, this was actually the same day I got my watch. How funny. I was driving home from getting this beloved watch. And I was I was in a few lanes on the road, and I was at a crosswalk, and we were all stopped to let a woman cross the road. And the lane to the left of me was wide open. And those moments where you think you're about to see something horrible happen.
Yeah.
This car just came racing beside me, and I knew this woman was walking, and she was about to walk right in front of that vehicle. And thank goodness she saw it, and nothing bad happened, but they went right through, and I just was thinking about the person driving that car and
Yeah.
what was going on in their mind. They weren't conscious
Yeah.
about what was going on in their life. So anyways, just it was sort of like we need those wake up calls, I think, sometimes. And that's exactly what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
these blessings or the messages
Mm-hmm.
within it, right? To just
Yeah.
become more and more aware of the impact of just not being awake to what's going on in our life.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a far end of the spectrum of raising your vibration, is just being completely unaware of it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. People walk around like zombies, not really like fully
Yeah.
conscious of what they're even, like you were talking about how you had all these sabotaging thoughts going through your head. If you take a
Mm-hmm.
minute, I usually do this exercise with clients and with, with friends and family, if they're open to it. If you take a minute and you put an elastic band on your wrist,
Right.
and you hit it or you pull it every single time that you have a bad thought or a conscious bad thought, or maybe even sometimes they're like unconscious, but they're just going through your day. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like wake up, in the middle of your day and you're like, oh, I don't feel so good anymore. Well, it's probably because
Mm-hmm.
you've been bullying yourself all day long. But if you could just take this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this rubber band and snap it every time you think a bad thought, I wonder how many times you'd actually be snapping that rubber band, right? Probably a
And then
lot.
you
Yeah.
want to stop doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
how
think
tell
another
oh, so great. Go on.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, just another way to kind of bring yourself to the present moment, and just sort of if you're finding that this is happening in your life, I think one of my favorite ways of really catching this is using the senses. So whether
Hmm.
it's like music or a scent or something tactile,
Hmm.
um, or you could eat something, but we can really eat unconsciously as well, right? Like we can
Yeah.
just like inhale food and not really think about what we're eating. So if you're going to eat
Hmm.
something, it's you want to make sure it's like just getting really slowing down, and using the senses to help really bring yourself to your awareness, because sometimes you can have this nagging feeling like something's bothering you, but you're just going too fast, and you can't really quite get to the root of it. So using things like that can really help you, like essential oils, or
Hmm.
anything that can really help you just be in the moment. Light a candle, it's another really good visual way of doing it. There's something about that just helps you almost stop time, and
Hmm.
sometimes that's needed so that you can really allow. We are so often avoiding these feelings or avoiding the thoughts because they can
Mm.
be painful. And the more that we can sit with them, let them be, and release them, the more that we can get deeper and a deeper understanding of what's going on. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I love that how, just sit with your feelings. It's
Mm-hmm.
safe. We give you permission on Girl Talk to sit with your feelings. It's okay. You can do that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's healthy to do it, like avoiding them, stuffing them. Oh my goodness, I did that for years.
Yeah.
Stuff so many feelings that I didn't understand at the time. I think that that can happen when we're younger too. But when I finally sat with them and unpacked them and really gave myself and the trauma and whatever it was that was causing those, the love and the attention that it needed,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to raise my vibration and start to climb out of that. Like that was a time in my life where I was experiencing a lot of anxiety
Yeah.
and really low moods. So I think sometimes if you're in that state right now and you're hearing this conversation, I think it can be kind of like really, I guess, it can feel so far away from, what your current experience is right now. But just following those steps
Mm-hmm.
and just really, again, reaching out for support as well, of course, is so important, talking about what's going on, but,
Yeah.
just really allowing that space for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
giving yourself permission, like Leah said. Yeah.
So, Chelsea, I am curious to know what you do to, like, on a daily basis to raise your vibration.
Yeah, oh, that's exciting. I'm happy to talk about this because I've actually been shifting this more and more. What I do now, it looks very different from what I did years ago. It's funny, I just glanced over at my vision board,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it's interesting that I did that because um, I made this vision board, gosh, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago now, but I still look at it, and one of the words on it that's really bold is fire. And I created that at a time where I was going through a huge transition and a shift in my life. And I knew what I wanted to create, which is, kind of a version of where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah.
But that vision board was amazing for me. The creation of it, I spent a lot of time on it, but the creation of it, I put a lot of care into it. I knew that it wasn't just something I was doing, like cutting out paper and gluing. It wasn't like an art and craft thing. Like this was actually a really sacred and important experience for me. But that was something that I did years ago. And that's something that may be beneficial for someone that's, kind of new to this. It's really asking yourself, how do you want to feel? Looking at
Mm-hmm.
how you feel right now. And, if you don't feel good on a regular basis, if you're, dealing with a lot of anger or frustration or unhappiness, it's really starting to open up to other possible ways you can feel. And if you can't feel them yourself right now, it's basically just really opening yourself up to the possibility and really what that would look like if you felt better. Maybe it's an image. It's not even necessarily a word, but maybe you look at, the ocean, and the ocean just makes you feel at home, and it makes you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're,
Yeah.
you're where you need to be. It could be anything. Um, but so that's what I used to do, or that's one of the big things, and I think that that had such a huge impact on getting from where I was to where I am now. Nowadays, it's a lot more subtle, and it's a lot more of, in the moment. Creating a vision board is something that you can do over time and have it on your wall. Looking at it, the act of looking at it is really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, and I think it's a perfect example because I had to do it today when I broke my watch. I That happened, and I knew, for one thing, I knew I was going to be coming on live, and I want to be able to be in a certain frame of mind when I do that. I want to be able to contribute, and when I'm in a state. Sorry, I'm getting some texts right now. I'm just going to try to mute my phone there. Okay, so basically, I broke my watch, and I caught myself after I, said a couple mean things to myself,
Mm-hmm.
called myself a klutz, blah, 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 all of that stuff. I then realized, okay, what do I need to do right now? And the things that I do are mostly, I talk about the senses. I talk about auditory. I think music is a big
Mm-hmm.
one for me. And more recently, I've been sharing these with you.
Yeah.
I actually went to of all things, I went to a bath bomb workshop a couple of weeks
Nice.
ago. And the woman there, she was this beautiful soul. I felt like there was so much that she could teach me, but she started talking to me about the frequencies of sound and how, I mean, obviously we know music can be very healing, depending on the type of music that we're listening to. But this is basically just like white noise
Yeah.
played at certain frequencies. And it's all over YouTube. It's called the solfeggio frequencies. And I have been listening to those overnight when I sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I sure as shit put them on this morning after that happened. I got my healing
Oh.
sounds. Actually, before I did that, I put on music and I danced because
Yeah.
that's another thing. It's
Yeah.
just like being in your body. Dance is so important to me. Being in your body and allowing that energy to release. And it doesn't even have to be like peaceful, happy music. Sometimes we need that music that allows us to feel these feelings that we
Yes.
don't want to feel, like anger or upset or whatever it is, but then we're dancing it out, we're releasing it. So I
Yeah.
danced in my kitchen, I listened to those healing things, and I made myself my green juice, which I've been doing a lot more lately. One of the things that I think is really cool is the food. We mentioned this before. The foods that we eat have
Mm-hmm.
vibration. There's actually some, and if anyone's interested in the details of this, I can look it up and share it below. But there's a scientist that has actually gone and measured the vibration of food, and it's pretty much obvious what we would expect
Mm-hmm.
to see. So raw, whole fruits and vegetables have higher vibration than French fries, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe protein even that's been cooked, right? Like meat or something like
Mm-hmm.
that has a lower vibration. So knowing that the foods that I eat actually affect how I feel, so I had that, and I danced, and I listened to my healing music, and I'm feeling much better after that. So those are kind of my
Good.
go-tos in the moment when I'm home.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's other things like tapping. That's one thing that I use with my clients. I don't know if we've ever talked about tapping on our calls, but that's a way. It's basically using acupressure and specific phrases to help with releasing,
Mm-hmm.
that charge, that emotional charge that we can have when we're feeling stuck. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So you do a ton of like energy management work to, raise your vibration and bring it up in a way that feels good to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
day-to-day ones. There's bigger ones, that, like I guess kind of more for me are again, it's like that hygiene, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's certain healers that I work with that I know if I'm
Yeah.
not feeling good. I mean, Reiki is a good example. A lot of people are familiar with Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fabulous way to really help to, just clear a lot of the stuff that can become a blockage to us feeling
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
it's funny that you mentioned that, so there's Reiki and then the sounds and I know that you do so, healers and stuff like that. Um, I I feel like I have a team of like energy management, somebody like people that are there that I have standing meetings with to help me raise my vibration when it's lower, or
Yeah.
just to let me know that I'm on the right track, right? Um, and
Mm-hmm.
I also I do the same thing. So I won't do Reiki, but I do like angel healing with the practitioner that I love, and then there's sometimes hypnotherapy. There's different things that you can do. Obviously all that stuff costs money, but I do feel like it's a team of people. And the same thing, like when I'm feeling like off physically, like I'll go and see my or what's it called, occupational therapist or osteopath, so that they can
Mm-hmm.
release stuff
Mm-hmm.
that like stuck emotions that are in my body that are wanting to get out. Um, but yeah, I love the sounds that you shared, and there's just so much that can be said about how you can raise your vibration in different ways. You can do it really easily, just like stop and take a shower and just change your thought pattern, or like you said, dance around to high vibe music. I know that when I'm really upset, I'll listen to Lily Allen and I love every moment of it, right? Or like it's just fun. It changes my thought pattern really, really quickly. And then I'm like, oh, okay, it's actually not as bad as I thought. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would love to, if any of you guys in the audience, if you're watching now or in the future, if you need help with any of this, please comment below. We're going to be putting our links to contact either, either one of us or even both of us. If you want to have a conversation about this, if you feel like your energy is off, like your vibration is off, and that you know that you're doing great things in the world, but there's something that is off and you just can't pinpoint it, we'll be happy to talk to you about it and see how we can help you moving forward with that.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone is watching right now that has any questions or comments. We've had a few people join us, but they may not be here anymore. But I'm just going to go through and say hello to so Samantha and Jolie, Eliza and Kia
Hi.
and Crystal. Thank you for watching and being here with us.
Yes.
You actually, I just wanted to kind of highlight something that you mentioned just before we close off. When you talked about having a shower.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's important. Water is such a huge healing tool,
Yeah.
and it's a really important way of helping to cleanse. I mean, literally, we know that we shower because if we don't, we're going to start to, maybe smell a little bit, or our hair will be messy, but whatever. So one of the things is just bathing, immersing yourself in a tub of water. And there's actually therapeutic ways that you can do this to take it further. I mean, there's flotation tanks now and all sorts of things like that. But just the act of having a shower, having a bath, water is one of the elements of the earth, just like crystals. They have this healing vibration and power for us. So it's important to use these tools that are available to us in whatever way feels right to you and feels aligned for you. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because you mentioned it really quick, and I thought it's another one that I use when I have time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, again, this is so like there's so many different ways, and absolutely water is huge. Yeah, to raise your vibration. Yeah. So thank you so much to everyone that has watched. And if you're watching in the future, please leave a comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are on this topic, where you're struggling. Again, our links to contact us are also below, and we'd love to have a conversation about it with you. And join us next week.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we may be I have my monthly
That's
massage
right.
next week.
To
So
raise your vibration.
we'll post yes, it's one of my things. We'll post the actual time when we have it set. And so yes, thanks everyone.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.